Hey, what's up, everyone? Quick impromptu thing here. So, hey, what's up, everyone? All right. So I see two people here. That's cool. All right. So this is not like a real live show. What I'm doing right now is I finally obtained the audio for Cristina Yakimowsky's court date on June 17th in Milford District Court for felony wiretapping, in which I testify, and the judge absolutely just rips into Crissy and her attorney for this. So the court date on this is upcoming next week, but I did want to play this because a lot of you haven't heard it. So I'm just going to let it play. I'm not even going to comment on it. This isn't like a live show. You can comment if you want, but I am going to play it starting now just so I have a copy of this. I can't figure out how to like download the file, so I'm just going to stream it live and enjoy.
Cristina Yakimowsky. So you're on here, unagreed upon tenderness. We have a memorandum of a disposition. We have statements from the defendant and defendant's counsels on Zoom.
Good morning, Judge. Good morning, Madam Clerk. Mike Maloney for Ms. Yakimowsky. She's online as well.
Michael's Deputy's prosecutor.
Your Honor, my office submitted a disparate tender for the office for the court consideration, along with a memorandum in aid of sentencing yesterday.
You're prosecuting the case, counsel?
Yes, special prosecutor.
Okay. Have you had a chance to read the defendant's memorandum in aid of disposition?
I did read it, yes.
Okay.
I showed it to the complainant who's here also.
All right.
I should just tell you, Judge, this involves Turtleboy, and Turtleboy fellow that runs and operates is here also.
All right. Does your complainant wish to be heard on the case?
She has a victim witness statement, yes.
Okay. Does she want to read that, or does she want me to just read it? Do you want to read it? Okay. Come on forward. Let's Mr. Wallace, we could adjust the height of the microphone for the complainant. All right, so before I make any decisions with regard to what I'm going to do with the case, I'd like the chance to hear from you, ma'am. What would you like to tell me?
Your Honor, I'd like to begin by thanking you for the opportunity to speak. With so many awful things going on in the world right now, this illegal recording may not seem important. So I'm very grateful for the opportunity to describe the impact that the actions of Cristina Yakimowsky has had on every aspect of my life and my family's and friends' lives. She took upon herself to illegally record a 44-minute conversation in which she interrogated, intimidated, and insulted me for the use of making what I said to her in what I thought was a private conversation public in blogs. Cristina Yakimowsky knew that what she did by recording me was illegal, and stated that in the heading of the email that she immediately sent others. She intended to make the recording public to humiliate and devastate me. She then used this conversation that was manipulated and edited to make it appear that I said things that I did not say. Since July of 2019, she has been publicly shaming and harassing me and asking people in chat rooms dedicated, in her words, to destroy me, to call and harass me, to call the police, Board of Health, building department, the MSPCA, and make false reports against me. I have hundreds of those conversations that were sent to me by someone in the chat rooms that knew that what she was saying about me were lies. I received threatening phone calls not only from her, but from her online followers. She called the police, the Board of Health, the fire department, building department, and then MSPCA, and made horrific and false allegations about me, the restaurant that I owned and operated, and the shelter that I have owned and operated since 2009, all of which were investigated and found falsely reported. She called or contacted my rabbi, my husband, my family, and my friends, and harassed and intimidated them when they refused to allow her to speak badly about me. Cristina Yakimowsky bragged in these chat rooms about making these calls. I became so despondent and depressed. I was unable to eat or sleep for months and did not leave my home for 2 years. I stopped answering my phone because of the harassment, telling me to kill myself, that I would be killed, or calling me filthy names. People have come to my home and screamed obscenities through my windows. I have changed from a caring, trusting human being to a fearful and anxious shell of my former self. I lost my restaurants and all my financial support for the shelter because of what she was writing online using this illegal recording of which I have documentation to prove. I now pay all the bills at the shelter, which has continued to operate from my very limited fixed income. Cristina Yakimowsky has shown no remorse, no regret for the damage she has inflicted on my life and my family's lives, and continues to harass and have others harass me. I am very grateful to you, Your Honor, for the court order clearly stating that Cristina Yakimowsky is to have no contact with Turtleboy or write about or have contact with me and my family or the shelter. However, Cristina Yakimowsky has shown contempt for you and the court order you gave her. I have text messages from Cristina Yakimowsky to me and to others about me since you handed down that court order. Cristina Yakimowsky has messaged publicly about me, stating that she is going to destroy me, physically harm me, make me crazy, and have me institutionalized. She has posted publicly to have all her followers show up at this court hearing today to intimidate me and my witnesses. I feel like my life is over and I will never have it back. The character assassination inflicted by Cristina Yakimowsky using this illegal recording has destroyed my life. I ask that Your Honor would please take all of this into consideration and sentence Cristina Yakimowsky to the maximum amount of time in jail that the law allows for this crime. Thank you. And also remove her guns because she has threatened me with, she owns 3 guns and has let me know that and threatened me with the use of them.
Okay. I appreciate.
Thank you, Your Honor.
I appreciate you coming in and talking to me about how these allegations have impacted you. Okay.
Thank
Could I
you.
see the docket, Madam Clerk?
Mhm.
All right, I'm just checking. There were references to orders that I had made. I think they were directed at the court in general. I don't believe I,
You mean pretrial conditions?
yeah.
Yeah. No,
Looks like those
there
were
are
set
some
by,
that would-
those were set by Judge Calagione. I don't have a memory of the case or having made any orders on the case. I wanted to make sure of that. Okay. Was there anyone else the Commonwealth has here that you wanted the court to hear from?
No, sir.
Okay, you mentioned that there's another gentleman here in your initial statement. What's that all about?
I just wanted to tell the court that there's a fellow, I forget his name, but he's Turtleboy, and he does some sort of, the woman who was involved with this wiretap wrote on his site.
Okay.
And that my understanding is that this gentleman has also provided this court, because there was a court order of conditions not to be on Turtleboy anymore,
Right.
that he subsequently provided this court with a slew of documents that, in fact, this lady, Ms. Yakimowsky, had gone on Turtleboy subsequent to the court ordering her not to go on Turtleboy subsequent to her arraignments, although she violated those conditions. So he is present. I did not ask him to be here. He's coming.
Is he a collateral victim in the Commonwealth's view of the case of her conduct?
I don't think so. No.
Yeah. Okay.
I really had no involvement with him, and then
Right.
I was contacted that he's doing this. And I said, "You
Okay.
do as you wish."
You'd mentioned him in your initial statement. I just want to make sure I have the chance to hear from anybody that either of the attorneys thinks there's anything relevant to add before making
I
any
think
decisions on this. No? Put them under oath. Swear in.
Sir, do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Okay, if you could just identify yourself for the record, sir.
My name's Aidan Kearney.
Okay, did you have input that you wanted to make with regard to?
Yeah,
the,
just
the
to
case?
clarify, the court ordered Cristina Yakimowsky not to have anything to do with my blog or anything like that. I was not aware of this, but for the last 2 years, Crissy has basically been trying to, she befriended me and attempted to use the blog to weaponize and Hadassah more and torment her more behind the scenes. That way, she was not the one publicly doing it. She was essentially, feeding me stories, feeding me information about Hadassah, helping me run the Turtleboy Facebook page. She was an administrator on it. She worked for me. I mean, she was an active participant in this for the last 2 years, in spite of the court order specifically telling her to have nothing to do with me.
Okay. So to, my words, not yours, but she used your business or your day-to-day activity as an instrument against the alleged victim in the case.
That's correct.
A summary of it.
That's right.
Okay, that's helpful to know.
Okay.
Thank you for
Thank
being
you.
here as well. Okay. Commonwealth, any other victims or information you'd like to make with regard to your recommended disposition?
Mr. Hadassah would like this lady to say something.
Okay, come on forward, ma'am. If you could, we're going to swear you in first.
Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do. Good morning, Your Honor. My name is Joelle Fantini. Cristina Yakimowsky and myself were very, very close friends at one point. We departed ways December 10th of 2021. During that time, I was here presently with Cristina in January of 2020 when Judge Calagione told her to stay off Facebook. I do have proof showing that she did interact with Turtleboy. I do have proof showing that she was going under alias names as Camilla Rodriguez. I do have proof of everything that she was doing as far as intimidating. It would be myself, Aidan, Hadassah, whoever. I also know that she's got 3 guns in possession, which is concerning. And 2 of them are registered, she told me. 1 of them is not. And she lives in my town, and she has just trying to destroy my life. So if she is destroying Hadassah's and she's destroying Aidan Kearney's, she's destroying myself. Who's going to be the next victim? This is ongoing. And she did tell me that she was going to wire Hadassah federally. She was not the felony, but she was going to go secretly record it. And that was on the telephone. And I said, don't do it. And she did.
So after the Commonwealth's argument in support of the disposition you've recommended essentially is, well, first she's charged with 2 felonies. And after being arraigned on those felonies, and specifically told by the judge who's behind me now, who was sitting here on that particular day, to stay off of that page and stay away from it, have no contact with the victim, that she continued to, she violated the court's order and continued to terrorize her. So,
Essentially, those are the facts.
well, I wish I'd known the Commonwealth was asking for a jail sentence today. I wouldn't do this hearing without her present. Because if there's any possibility of my incarcerating somebody at the end of the plea, I want them right here so they can go immediately into custody. That was not known to me.
I did not know either. I talked to Attorney Maloney. We've spoken regularly, Mahoney, and he had mentioned last night that he was going to be on Zoom, which certainly is his prerogative. I guess he called the court. That's what. If Your Honor,
did Ms. Yakimowsky's attorney know that you were asking for a jail sentence today?
I'd spoken to him. We were here to do a resolution some time ago, and the judge who was hearing the case had a conflict with the matter, so we had to move it to another date, and that's why we're here today. And understanding your situation, Judge, if it would be best, maybe we would get a date sometime next week or something that you're available. I don't have any problem with doing so.
No, I'm not going to make these folks come back. We're going to make decisions on the case today.
Okay.
Just for the record, the violation of the conditions of release have never been addressed. They were to go before Judge Locke, and he recused himself.
Okay.
And then it's just been motions to continue with the case right now.
All right. So a violation of the conditions of release, that order to stay off that website, leave this woman alone. A judge never addressed that. Violation had been filed, but it couldn't continue.
There was a COVID issue, and they called me. I believe the Turtleboy fellow called me, and I spoke to someone from the court who said that they received a number of documents, which I think are in file, and which showed, in fact, they violated. And then when we were here last time, we were asked to come back another day, and that is today.
Okay. Anything else from the Commonwealth with regard to your recommended sentence?
Just briefly, she has a limited record, really only dating back from 2008 and previous. I think that Ms. Hadassah Rose has spoken to all the issues in her victim witness statement. She has suffered some significant, she tells me, financial loss because of these stories. And for those reasons, and after a number of meetings with the complainant, we would ask if you would adopt our recommendation, which is 6 months, 2 years in house correction, 6 months to serve, balance suspended for 2 years with no internet at all, Facebook and any sort of things, as it's been brought to this court's attention and from my victim that there's been significant involvement throughout this manner, which has caused some harm and concern for her.
Attorney Maloney, did you know the Commonwealth was asking for a jail sentence today when you asked the court to waive your client's in-person appearance?
Sir, I've been dying to wait to be answering a question. Yes, I did. ADA McEvilly and I have been in regular communication, whether it be primarily via text, calls, answered, no miscommunication there. Judge, I say that because to say that both ADA McEvilly and I were, to say that we were on the same page and that we knew we were asking for a significantly disparate tender, but we also knew that my client had no record whatsoever, none to speak of. Now, I would not want to make light whatsoever, but again, my office submitted a memorandum in aid of sentencing yesterday, Your Honor. Clearly, you have my client's extremely limited BOP. I never expected the witnesses to testify today. This is the first I've ever heard of guns. Any sort of threats like that, my client vehemently objects to. First and foremost, sir, I would ask Your Honor to indulge the defense by running a quick BOP of the two individuals that just testified. I assure you, one of them.
Why don't we start with your client's record? Because you just told the court, as an officer of a court, she's got no record whatsoever. You sure about that, counsel? Are you sure about that?
I'm sorry, sir?
Are you sure about that? I rely upon what attorneys tell me as officers of the court to be accurate. You just told me your client has no record whatsoever. Is that a true statement, counsel?
Sir, I believe it's extremely limited.
It's not what I asked you. Don't tell me somebody's got no record whatsoever when they've been on probation, when they've admitted to sufficient facts on charges that could carry jail sentences of up to 2.5 years and been put on probation after making an admission. And you're going to tell me at a hearing as an officer of the court they have no record whatsoever?
Sir, I did not mean to misconstrue the court. I did not mean to deceive the court, sir. I am fully aware that a BOP is before the court, before the clerk, before the special prosecutor here. I was not meaning to misconstrue. My intent was to grossly paraphrase the terms of the conversation that ADA, special prosecutor, ADA McEvilly, and I had. We both were of the opinion, to put it candidly, sir, that the likelihood of jail was virtually nil.
That's not your decision. That's not your decision.
No, obviously not my decision, sir. Not my decision whatsoever. And
she's charged with 2 felonies. She's had a pending violation of conditions of release that the court has not decided on. Either the felonies or that violation could lead to her incarceration. And you've decided it's unlikely she's going to go to jail. That's not your decision, counsel.
No, it's not, sir. But I also knew it was a defendant count plea, sir. And the reason that I submitted the memorandum in aid of sentencing was to grossly paraphrase. It's a 2019 case. Okay. In 2019, it would not be disputed that Ms. Yakimowsky, my client, the defendant, was working, whether it be in a W-2 or a 1099 independent capacity, sir. I wouldn't dispute the details. But she was working as an independent contractor or as an employee, whatever you will, for Turtleboy, the individual that just testified a moment ago. In that capacity, it was her job to collect information, dirt, if you will. In that capacity, she completed, she admittedly to the police right away said, yes, I tape recorded a conversation with the alleged victim. I provided that conversation to Turtleboy. Immediately, upon finding out that Massachusetts is one of 11 states where unilateral taping is wiretapping, she asked Turtleboy in writing, sir, in writing, this is the individual that just testified, please don't do anything with it. This is in writing. And despite that, he disseminated it widely. And again, sir, I realize this is all about Ms. Yakimowsky, but suffice it to say that individual that just testified has an enormous following. And despite Ms. Yakimowsky's pleas to not disseminate it, it was disseminated beyond her imagination, and it resulted in her seeking out 2 harassment orders from the court. It resulted against harassment orders being sought against her. The alleged victim in this matter, sir, is by tragic what happened. Tragic. It was, when I say there was no malice, sir, and again, I do not mean to be presumptuous here whatsoever, there was no malice to violate the law. There was no malice to willfully violate an order. This was a woman thinking she was operating in a legitimate employee independent contractor relationship, which is permitted in 39 states. Sir, prior to this, she was working as a preschool teacher. Forgive me when I said she has no judicial involvement, sir. I really didn't mean to misconstrue anything to the court. I was aware that her BOP is before you, sir. But after speaking with Special Prosecutor McEvelyn, I thought we were on the same page. The fact that this individual, again, this individual that just testified at the last court date where the judge said, no, I'm not going to hear it because there was a judge that wasn't familiar with the matter. It was sitting in for one day. At that very court date, the individual that just testified followed Ms. Yakimowsky and myself out with a reporter, with a camera in his face, asking her how she was satisfied and didn't want to kill herself since she couldn't satisfy her husband, sir. I say that because right now the only thing that matters is Ms. Yakimowsky, the court's determination as to which way to go in regards to a clause, a sentence, continuance, any which way. But to pretend that the individuals that did not testify, did not exacerbate this matter tremendously would be the understatement of the year, sir. Now,
2008, yes, in the Rentham District Court, she admitted to sufficient facts on an OUI, was put on probation. She admitted to that charge. That's a charge that carries a penalty of up to 2.5 years in jail. 5 years prior to that, in this court, she admitted to a motor vehicle criminal violation, was put on probation out of this court. A year before that, in the Fitchburg District Court, she admitted to a larceny case, was put on probation out of the Fitchburg District Court. And a year prior to that, in this court, she was found guilty, convicted of a motor vehicle offense out of this court. And that's why it was astounding to me, counsel, that you started your argument by saying she has no criminal history whatsoever. It's absurd to say that under the circumstance.
I would just say very briefly, Judge, I didn't realize that I would have these people be testifying today, but my complainant had asked, and so be it, and that's what happened.
Well,
sir,
they've got a right to be heard. Okay, they have a right to be heard. In fact, the court, I say this almost every day I'm here, and I'm addressing this to both attorneys. It's so much more helpful to me to hear from people that are impacted by these cases than to read a report. So when folks come in here, and I could see the emotion on the complainant's face and hear it in their voice, it's not easy for people to come in here, talk about how things like this have impacted them. I've got to imagine there's a lot of stress attendant to it. both leading up to the hearing and coming to the hearing and talking in front of a room full of strangers. And I'm not insensitive to that. And I appreciate it when folks do that. It is more helpful to me than just simply reading a statement or reading a report. And I always want to hear from the folks that have been affected by cases, if they're willing to come in here and talk to me about it.
I didn't tell the other defense counsel that they would be speaking because I didn't know myself. That's all.
All right. So we need Miss Yakimowsky here in person. We need her here in person in the event that I were to impose any type of jail sentence. And in the event if I were to do that and counsel were to withdraw his plea, I would address the alleged violations of her conditions, and I can hold her without bail on that. So there are two different possible paths to her incarceration, and I'm not predicting that. I'm not prejudging that. I wouldn't do that. I haven't given defense counsel the full chance to be heard on his recommended disposition, but I'm not taking a plea on a case that involves a potential jail sentence over video, where if I impose the sentence, I've got no control over that person.
I understand.
And I'm not making a decision on the alleged violation of Judge Calagioni's order with her who knows where, or I can't put her in custody if I find that she's violated those conditions. So we need to get her back here. The next date that I sit back here in this court, unfortunately, in a criminal session, isn't until July 14th. So I'm gonna tell the folks that are here and that are interested in this case, you are welcome at every hearing that we have. I won't forget your words and your statements if you'd rather not have to come in again, but you're welcome to come back here and to come in again if you would like to on that next date. And I can't tell you how much I dislike when people come in not being able to bring a case to a conclusion while you're here, okay? I get it. I don't want to put you through that again. But I've got somebody that I'm being asked to put in jail by the prosecutor, which I very well may. Again, I haven't made any decisions yet, but that's obviously a real possibility. I want them in this building so that if I put them in custody, they're going directly into custody. Do you all understand that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Counsel, I'm glad to pick a date that works for you and your client as well. She's going to need to be in the Milford District Court on that next date. It will have to be no sooner than July 14th, and I apologize for that. That's because of my personal schedule.
Sorry, understood. I'm scheduled to start a manslaughter that Monday. Are you there for a while after that?
So following that date, any Monday, Thursday, or Friday in July, I will be sitting here in Milford. So July 14th, 15th, 18th, 21st, 22nd, and then the same pattern in the last week of July. Let's pick one of those dates if we could.
So would a 2 p.m. call be permissible, sir?
I'll do that. I work all day. 2 o'clock is fine with
Thank
me.
you, sir. ADA McEvely,
That's fine.
7:20. Does that work for 7:28 at 2 p.m., sir?
July 20?
28th, sir, at 2 p.m.?
28th, that's a Thursday
That's
at 2
fine.
p.m. Okay.
28th at 2.
We do eviction cases on Thursday afternoons, but we'll work around that.
Thank you. We'll see you then. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Thank you both. You're welcome, ma'am.
7:28, 2 p.m.
Yes, counsel.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Well, that was fun. That was fun. So yeah, you guys, sorry, I told you guys the judge wasn't fucking around. I finally got the audio with this, and I told you he was pissed, man. That guy was pissed. So I've looked up Richard Eustace since then, and he's like he's a Baker appointee from 2017, which, believe it or not, is actually a good thing because you don't want to be a Deval Patrick appointed judge. And he ran for state rep as a Republican in 2012, which that's all I need to know about him. He was actually the judge in the case involving that guy I've written about who goes around deflating women's tires so that he can help them out afterwards. Remember that creepy Asian guy from Winchendon? He was recently arrested for doing that in like Bellingham and Milford and stuff like that. Eustace was the judge on that. And he gave him no bail on that. They wanted 200,000 bail. He's like, no bail. So the guy is like really no nonsense. And I think if you heard that, I mean, he was pissed about the arrogance of her not being in court that day, because it was like insulting to him. It's like, especially when he goes, we assumed that there would be no jail. He's like, you don't get to make that decision, counselor. I mean, he fucked up when he said that. It's like the guy was just like clearly just like, who do you think you are not being in my courtroom right now? Like, this is a serious matter. This is a felony. It could result in jail time. And you're just assuming I'm not going to send her to jail. Why is that? The prosecution is asking for jail. It's not up to you. And he said something towards the end there that definitely made it sound like there was a very distinct possibility that she will get some time in jail for this. Any time to me would be considered a win. Again, and you're listening to the Hadassah part there. I mean, but he's like, we have a Taylor Lorenz situation here. You know, it is, I'm not there to be Hadassah's friend. Like, I'm not doing this because I support Hadassah or anything like this. I'm doing this basically because it's, you know, I'm here on behalf of the state. She violated a court order. The court order said she can't have anything to do with Turtleboy. And she basically attempted to weaponize my blog, unbeknownst to me, in order to try to win this stupid wiretapping case. She remember, her goal was to get Hadassah all wound up before court dates by writing blogs about her, that so she would act erratically. And you've heard Hadassah, she does that a lot. And she's pretty easy to wind up. And so that was Crissy's goal, was to basically use me to do that. So she kind of like, you know, pretended, you know, got in my good graces. She's extremely manipulative. And she was an admin for the Facebook page. You know, I got messages of her telling me, like, write this blog, and this blog was published. Like, she did this a lot. So I'm there just for that aspect of it, to talk about that. But obviously, this woman, I mean, it's more than just wiretapping Hadassah. That's not the only issue here. Also, an issue with this is the whole thing with the fact that this is a pattern with Cristina Yakimowsky. She tapes a lot of people. You know, she's very sneaky and secretive. And like, the fact that she's still doing this with the court order in existence shows that like, she's not remorseful. She's not like, she's not going to change her ways. She's not reformable. Like, this is just who she is. She's a manipulative sociopath and a compulsive liar. And in her mind, she did no wrong. Again, she sent me that audio completely without any sort of stipulations about, like, you can't play this. Like, that was a lie when they said that. Oh, you know, he's what did he say? That, oh, she works for him and she was collecting dirt for him. No, she wasn't. Nobody ever told you to collect any dirt. She just loves chaos and wanted to be involved in this somehow, and wanted to be part of Turtleboy, but not publicly, because she's a coward. And she's got this business, that Royal Thermal View, which still is like parades around as a legitimate business in town. And it's just amazing that this happened. So she's going to be a convicted felon, hopefully on Thursday. But she's impacted a lot of people. Like, you know, what she did to me is unrelated to this, but it's fucked up. You know, like, she wasted the police's time and the FBI's time with this wiretapping nonsense. She was the one that made us all believe that we were all wiretapped because our conversations were being shared by crusty panties. And we're like, there's no way any of us would ever do that, because we all hate her. But it turns out it was Cristina Yakimowsky the entire time. At any point, like, when I was going to the police with this stuff, she could have just stopped and said, Aidan, this has gone too far. I have a problem with you, actually. I don't like you. So I'm just going to go my separate ways. I'm friends with Kate now. And just don't waste the police's time, because the police wasted their time and resources investigating this nonsense that she lied about. She was the one that urged us to go to the police, and she had us all convinced. So they're, you know, they were somewhat victimized by her too. And it's all part of a pattern with this woman. Everything is a lie. everything is sneaky. Everything is recorded and screenshotted and used to hurt other people. And like, Hadassah, like obviously I had major problems with her Dagina Rivka sent to that. But you know what? I wrote about it. I did a 7-part series about it. And it's done. Whatever the town wants to do with that, the town wants to do with that. That's up to them. If they're not going to enforce health regulations, or if they're okay with this going on in their town, that's up to them. If people want to donate money to her, that's up to them. I've done my job. My job is to report. Crissy believes that it's her job to like stalk and really get in just torment. Like Hadassah is what she is. Yeah, she's easy to wind up. Okay. I don't support her shelter at all. I stand by the blogs I wrote. They were good blogs. They were factual. It was important to get that stuff out. But for Crissy, she just wants to watch the world burn. Like that's her only interest in this entire dumpster fire. So, anybody have any questions or anything? Yeah, I feel bad for her sons. Tell me about it. Yeah. What she did was inhumane. It backfired. Yeah, people. Let me just see what people are saying. She's obsessed with Hadassah. Yeah, very much. I mean, she's just obsessed with she's obsessed with drama. And Hadassah was the source of drama for her. She's obsessed with me. She's obsessed with Joelle. She's obsessed with a lot of people. And you heard Joelle speak there as well. But again, she's done a lot of fucked up shit to people. Yeah, the storm is coming. Oh, yeah, it's really coming for sure. Oh, big time. Yeah, she deserves everything you get. Why wasn't a default warrant issued? Well, she was in court. The prosecutor agreed to allow her to do it remotely. Again, the prosecutor, I don't like the prosecutor. What do you call me? The Turtleboy fella. He didn't even know what the blog was. He's never actually looked at the evidence I've given. I submitted that evidence that she violated the order to the probation department. He hasn't even looked at it. I've brought this to his attention that her attorney was previously my attorney. He is therefore prevented via Supreme Judicial Court Rules of Professional Conduct 1.9 that say that you cannot represent a client whose interests are materially adverse to a previous client that you represented, and that would be me. I mean, Cristina Yakimowsky's interests are materially adverse to mine. So I've brought this to the prosecutor's attention, and he goes, well, you're not a witness. First of all, it doesn't say anything about witness in the statute. Just says materially adverse. And yeah, I am a witness. I mean, you heard it. I testified under oath. The judge asked me to speak. I even like the judge was like, does he want to speak? I'm like, sure, let's do it. I had no intention of speaking that day. I didn't know I was going to talk, but I just told the truth. I'm like, yeah, here's what happened. And I kept it brief, and there's that. So I still don't get why she's so, I mean, she's one of these people that really wanted to involve herself in Turtleboy. It filled a void in her life. Like, obviously her life is empty. Even though you have 2 kids and a business, a fiance, you would think that would satisfy you, but some bitches just are never satisfied. You can't trust this is the woman that her husband or ex-husband walked in on her banging some retarded guy. And she basically told him like, oh no, we were just swimming. And she just lies to his face about it. She crashed into a car, crashed her new Range Rover, I think, into a tree during like an episode in 2015. She's fucking insane. She's psychotic. So looks like prettiest with her face paint. LG, stop it, Mr. Frizzle. Any prediction on her sentence? Honestly, if I were to guess, I would say that she's going to get, I'm going to guess 30 days in jail. That's my over under. Just because it would be like symbolic. Any jail time would be symbolic. I don't think they're going to like throw the book at her. 3 to 6 months in jail, remainder suspended. Yeah, I mean, based on if she gets that judge, he should be conflicted out. But if she gets that judge, which she is, I mean, that guy is no nonsense. She does have a job. She owns a business. Turtleboy's going to law. I should have gone to law school. I mean, I'm so good at court. I mean, let's be honest. I'm just dominant out there. I'm not even being, biased or anything like that. It's just a fact. My record is impeccable. Okay. Coming late, any members of Team Storm. So the Team Storm seems to have died out. They're welcome to show up in court, but I'm not scared anymore. Like back in, there was a time there when all of the shit was coming out and it was humiliating and very personal, and it seemed like relentless. And I'm like, Jesus, I don't need this right now. It's bad for my mental health. Yeah, it's all gone now. That's over. Like, we've destroyed them. I fucking murdered them. Like, they've all turned on each other, which we knew they were going to do. Remember, Brett and Kate and Leah all said that they were going to come to this court date. None of them showed up. None of them showed up in June. I don't think they talked to Crissy anymore. So we'll see what happens with that. Okay, let's now. Oh, she also banged. Yeah, she did bang. I mean, that's dedication. She banged Hadassah's son to get dirt on the mother, and then pretended and screenshotted their conversations and actually shared those dick pics, I guess, with our group chat. Interesting. I'm 40 years old. I can't be an attorney. It's too late for that. That boat has passed, but yeah. All right, guys. So yeah, I guess she only showed up with her kid. I mean, she said she was going to show up, but again, Crissy has done such awful things. It has basically she's manipulated. She's done the same thing she did to me. She did to Kate. Like she did to Leah. She did it to all these people. Like they have every reason to hate her, but they're just so consumed with their hatred of me that they're willing to look past that. I don't know how long they're willing to look past that for. Like I would assume that goodwill is evaporated. And I mean, Kate's welcome to. We can fucking grill her outside the court too if she wants to. I got nothing to hide. The things that I've done in my life, that she believes makes me a bad person, pale in comparison to the things that she has done to her children, 2 of which were permanently taken away from the state. And there's really nothing more that needs to be said about that. You abuse your own children. So nothing you can say to me matters, because I have never done that. Never been credibly accused of doing anything like that. My sins are not your sins. It's not the same thing. So I'm ready, and I'm ready. Please try it. Please try it. So, all right, guys. So this has been a quick impromptu live. Just wanted to share that because I got the audio and now it's on record, and it is on our YouTube channel for anyone to watch. But you guys have a good day, and we'll see you all tomorrow night for the live show. Peace.